Oh, we're on. Come down a little bit there. There we go. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Thank you so much. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Oh, yes, wonderful. Thank you for joining me. So welcome to the Phil Rice YouTube channel. And today, as you can see, things are a little different. I've got some help. I want to say a big thank you so much from my heart to all of the people that have supported this channel to date. And for those of you who have maybe gone the extra length and supported the channel through a financial means, I am so grateful. And because of that assistance, I have been able to get a green screen. And so what that means is that we can do some new interesting stuff now. And now I must say that when I was getting this all set up last night, and because I was trying to get all the lighting and everything, because when you're using a green screen, you have to sort of play around with the settings quite a bit. One thing I didn't realize is that I didn't sort of spend a lot of time getting organizing a show today, so I just sort of set it up as another hangout. But yeah, I've got some images and some things as well, so we'll just hang out and have a chat. Oh no, the coffee's gone, but I do have. Oh, hang on, have we got any coffee left? Maybe I do actually. Cheers. Just wanted to say welcome. Thank you for joining us here. It's a really warm day here in Auckland in New Zealand, and I've got to say the coffee has probably made me hotter than what I need to be. But how you guys doing? You doing all right? Oh, we've got a comment there. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, so I really just wanted to jump on with the green screen and just sort of like say, hey, how you guys doing? Let's catch up, let's chat, let's see if you guys got any questions, whether it's Franz Bardons material or, especially initiation into Hermetics, and also Reiki, or just, whatever we want to talk about. And so, there's a lot of scope to explore with production. I'm not sure what the industry lingo is, but essentially this green screen here means that we can sort of be positioned in places that are sort of themed nicely towards our efforts. And for some reason, I felt, let's do this in a ruins. And yes, I know it's an AI image, but I just really like this one for some reason. It's sort of like overgrown and ancient, and yeah, I thought, well, this would be a nice place just to hang out and maybe absorb a little bit of what's going on. So yeah. Now you may notice up the top there that there is a sign there highlighting an animation. Where is it? This one here. Yep. So you'll see this animation here, powered by EVMux. It will show up, and it'll stay there, and then it will disappear, and then it will come back. And so that is the next phase of development for the channel, is to essentially use the next round of funding that comes in from you guys. Thank you very much, to help upgrade the software, which would be wonderful because, I've already booked in a number of guests for our next live panel. And so we're having a meeting of some wizards and alchemists and herbalists and lots of and people from across the metaphysical spectrum, I guess, generally centering around the Bardon material. And they're all meeting here in a couple of weeks' time. And I'd really love it if we can set up the nicest environment possible. And I've got some really fun layouts to explore within this. Where is it? This software that I use. It opens a lot of very fun creative doors that I haven't really played with, and the people who make the software are constantly developing new ways to interact. And some of the things that they've done, they're not quite there yet, but in the meantime, there's still plenty to play with And there's ways of being creative with a limited tool set. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, one of the reasons I wanted to sort of do a live stream today was to say thank you so much for those of you who have helped the channel out. And also, if you would like to support the channel support the channel growth, please consider joining. There's a couple of options in the YouTube box there. You can go to my, where are we? You can go to my Substack as well. And I've just released another, for those of you that are interested in energy healing. I've started a series of blogs, written blogs, and if you punch them in through the Substack app, it can be read out to you almost like an audio book. The Substack app is very good. So yeah, I want to encourage you to do that. And it's a paid one. And pretty much all that goes back into the channel and, things like that. So yeah, grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, what's been happening, everyone? Oh, that coffee was strong. It's good stuff. Whew. I actually got a nice bag of coffee for my birthday. Thank you, Sister D. I appreciate you. But yeah, so I've got some things here. Let's let's have a look here. So that's pretty cool. I can just sort of drag up a. Let's see if I can make that a bit bigger. There we go. That's cool. I dig it. Do you dig it? This stuff's pretty fun, eh? I gotta say, I've been watching these guys who are like gaming streamers and things, and no, not that one. I've been watching and just trying to like see how they maximize for live stream immersion, I guess. And because I'm a teacher, and this channel is kind of like it's a bit of a hangout, but it's also like what would you say? It's I guess it's a sort of a respite in some ways, because I know that there's people who are members of this community come from right across the planet and from various backgrounds. And so, this essentially is a great little space for us to hang out, talk, and, just float ideas and hang out in the chat and talk to each other and see if we can, help each other out and, work through some things. And also I know that there's people who are coming on who are also in, maybe not the best place as well. And so want to try and make this a really fun situation for people who want to hang out. And yeah, just sort of like, remember guys, it's very easy to get caught up in the mundane world. It's so persistent. The billboards, the media, the everyday, it's a bit of a derogatory term, but the muggles. There's people who aren't on this track, and bless them, because they're obviously an important part of the piece. But maintaining our sort of our magical awareness, if you will, requires us to remember, how to bring forth and evoke forth the state, bringing the ideal state forward, so that we can occupy that and move into that, and then learn how to stretch it out. And so we have switches, we have gimmicks, if you will, and activators to. Oh yes, that's right. And I'm going to talk about one of mine shortly, actually, because I was thinking about this the other day, because, I've been doing quite a lot of computer and tech related stuff lately. And, I forget about the magic nature of reality. I spent, the first 35 years prior to meditation and lucid dreaming and out of body experiences and getting into, this topical material very much in the world. And, those things are well embedded in my personality and that. And so, it's easy to sort of slip back in. I'm not saying that it's, it's not valuable and functional, because we have to be able to operate in the world. But finding that switch to get us back into the sacred, into the magical mindset, and then, learning how to expand that throughout the day, so we're operating, as a magical being, if you will, a magical creature. All right, so, I just wanted to pull this image up here. Now, as you can see here, now I'm not sure about that number there. That's a fun number, isn't it? Oh, I'll just pull that off. Hang on, where are we? I love that. Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to pull this image up. So this is a cymatic image, which is basically like a steel plate with a speaker underneath it, and a tone is run through that speaker, a frequency is run through it. And what happens is that the sand particles organize themselves into this sort of two-dimensional slice, if you will, or a flat image. Now, this is a two-dimensional slice of a three-dimensional, sort of image, if you will. I've seen the. In fact, I should have got some images, but you can see they're almost like orbs, almost when you see them three-dimensionally. There's a great study I came across a while back that shows dolphins communicating with each other and the cymatic images that they create with bubbles and water and a mixture of the both. There's a word set, a descriptor for it. I think it's something like resonant cavity oscillator, and one of the people I've interviewed many times, Dr. Richard Allen Miller, not so much on this channel, but one of the old channels, he talks about this quite a bit. This idea of resonant cavities, and it's probably going a little bit outside of the scope of what I wanted to talk about, but essentially, we sound like, especially if you're into Bardons' third book, right? And we're vibrating sounds. Okay. Now, what would a Kabbalistic letter look like cymatically? Like this. Oh, like this. I've got to remember the camera's pointing the other way. I've often wondered about that, might be something worth exploring. Now, and how, because there's another chap by the name of Hans Jenny, and he's got there's some great videos on YouTube where he is talking about and showing, putting two different mediums. He's got sand, and then he's got maybe another type of compound, and then they organize themselves, but they organize themselves differently. They separate themselves. And yeah, this is just really fun to look at. And I have brought this up before, but where am I going with this? Let's pull that over a little bit. Okay. Now let's bring that over there. Got to figure out how to do this proper. About there, that'll do. Cool. Okay, and I'll get rid of that. All right. So here's another one. Isn't this interesting? Like I said, unsure about this aspect here, but we're looking at something here that is, it's kind of like it's relevant. Because why is it relevant? Because there's a history of seeing these images in old buildings and architecture and things. I'm trying to find it. I've got a stellar on here that shows it beautifully. Let's see, where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding? All right, here we go. Let's see. I'll bring this up so you guys can check it out. right, let's try that out. Okay, so I'll put these, see if I can get these side by side a little bit. This is fun. Thanks everyone for being so patient with me while I figure all this out. I really want to do this well, so you guys can really sort of take the value away from what I'm trying to do here. This is this is a bit funny. Hang on. There we go. Put one back. Put one there. All right. I'll put this one by my head, and then I'll put this one here. Here we go. Okay. So what we have here is this is a Mesopotamian image here. Now, there's a lot of speculation over this. We see images of moon and sun, or is that sun? Can't quite see. That image there does appear to be that image there as well. But essentially, we can see this kind of, it might feel like a bit of a stretch and a bit of a reach, but we can see that there is some kind of relationship that we could extract from the similarity of these images in regards to sound. Now, there's a lot going on in this image, and it's been a while, to be fair, since I've actually sat down and run through all the symbolism of it. But what we have is we have a big person here, and we have two people in here, and then we have this one is, I do believe that this was once sort of referred to as being sort of a polarity, and this person has command over a polarity. And often, like you might find this in dreams as well, is that when you see a tall person, they are sort of, I guess, considered more capable, or they're exalted for a reason, these types of things. So I just see that I'm starting to go a bit green, so I'm going to just see if I can fix that a bit. Let's try that out. Right, it's going to be like that. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I just wanted to pull this one out because it's a pretty interesting find, this one. Because, how does sound create? That's kind of what I'm getting at here, And the Hans Jenny stuff is really fascinating. Let's pull some of that up. I'll put these two down. Where's my YouTube gone? Yeah, so what's happening to you guys? Come on then. Tell me what's happening. Okay, I won't run the Okay, I won't run the audio. I'll just keep it real simple with the sound here. Let's see if we can get that. So what we're looking at here is that we're actually looking at sound moving. Okay, sound moving some kind of physical material. All right. Oop, there we go. Now, this is pretty interesting. I'm trying to find it. Here's another one here. We can see how it's sort of changing. This is actually not the image that I want. There's a really... Where is the one that I'm looking for? Maybe it's not that one. Let's try this one. We can see, here we go, this is the one. So I'll pull it back a little bit. Okay, so basically it's a bunch of sand on a plate, all right? And as it moves, you will see, like, it's pumping sound through. You can't hear the tone. Unfortunately, I can't put the sound through. It just sounds terrible. I need a new computer and some new stuff and things. So, but it's basically what it's doing is the guy's got a tone pumping through the steel plate. He put some sand or some salt on, and he's turning the frequency up. Okay, so the digits are increasing, so the frequency is getting higher, and the shape is changing. Now, I haven't got it handy. Oh, I need to be better organized. Thank you for being so patient with me, everyone. There we go. That's it. That'll do. Okay, so what we're watching here is that we're watching the particles, the sand particles, reorganize into essentially crisp and clean geometry. Okay. And we're looking for familiarity, like, where have we maybe have seen these before, whether in ancient architecture or in nature, in our meditations on mandalas. There we go. There's our friend there. So you'll notice that as you can't hear it, but the pitch of the frequency is getting high. Okay, let's just stop it on that one. Okay, this is a bit of I want to see if it'll crisp up a bit. So, no, not that one. Okay, so as the frequency gets higher, right, the images appear to be getting more complex. How interesting, for me anyway, I have to say. And so we can relate to this. If you have a look at if you look at, oh man, I wish I had it right here. If you look through Bardons' third book and you map out, actually, maybe I do have it here. Let's see if I can find it. Just have a look at that particular image there, because you'll notice that it's symmetrical on one axis, but not so much on the other. It's not a very clean one, right? But how does it know how to orient itself? Like what, this is, is it facing cardinal points? Probably not. That's the thing, because most of them have all been, okay, symmetrical, like, on both X and Y axis. But this one here is not. And that for me is a curiosity. Now, and like I said, that one there is not really a super clean one. Okay, I'm looking for, where have I put you? Where have I put you indeed? If you lay out the Kabbalistic letters, all right, here we go. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to show you guys this. This is a sheet that I'm building. I'm actually pretty proud of this sheet. All right, so we'll put that over there. And then we'll, not that one. Okay, here we go here. So I've got this. This is a really fun way to teach. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you guys are into this, So what we have here is that if we map out all the notes that are mentioned in Bardons' book, so I've basically taken all the letters and I've mapped them out from the lowest note, because being a musician, we'll generally start on C. It's the, all the white notes of the keyboard, of the piano, but there's two letters missing out of the musical scale in Bardons' system, which is quite interesting. And I believe it's A sharp and E here. So there's A, no A sharp, and then there is no E. Quite curious. But what I'm saying here is that here are the frequency numbers, right? And then here are all the letters by attributed to, the letters sorted by their musical note association. And I do believe that Andre Conscientia has talked about this in one of his books as well. And we have, him and myself have actually spoken a little bit about this. And I will have Andre on the show again at some point. But, let's have a look here. This is so interesting, because these can also be mapped out, because there's only 10 notes here. What else are there 10 of? Okay, fingers, toes, Sephiroth on the tree of life. Okay, so this would be Malkuth. Okay, this would be Yesod, this would be Hod, this would be Netzach, this would be Tiferet. Okay, I really love that G and L are in Tiferet. There are a couple of the healing letters. I love that so much. Okay, this would be our Giburah, this would be our Hesed, and this would be Bina, Chokhmah, and then Keter, Kether. And it's interesting to note because, you know, if you go and watch, or if you guys have read Bob's book, Initial Experiences with the Kabbalah, or listen to him talk about Kabbalah in Bardons system anyway, you know, the letter K, right, which is it the qualitative or the quantitative sort of aspect of the fire element. Here's the fire element down the bottom here in Malkuth. And here's the letter K, which is apparently the closest letter to non-dual light, and it's way up the top here. You also notice that the letter U, which is like sort of like the ultimate base substrate akasha, is way up the top too. We'll see that this is another one. So here's Malkut, and here's the mother letter for earth element here down the bottom as well. We see the D, the O, and the R. The R is another earth letter. So we've got these earth letters. We've got 2 fire letters and 3 earth letters, although R can be a little warm too. It's just really interesting. Let's pull up a tree of life here. I'll see if I can. I've got a nice. Sorry guys, pushed the wrong button. This could be dangerous. It's all live here, guys. Let's see. I've got a beautiful tree of life image here somewhere. Cancel. Let's turn that off. Where's my tree of life? Where's my tree of life? Where's my tree of life? Do 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 do. Let's see. Here we go. I don't know how good this image is. Oh, no, it's not very good, that one. Let's not use that one. I'm sure I had a better one. Where have I put you? Okay, I've got to flick through too many folders to find it. G'day, Will. Great to see you, man. Enjoy the beach, sir. I tell you what, in New Zealand right now, the beach is the place to be. It's so warm here. Let's see if I can find another tree of life somewhere in here. Tree of life. Oh man, I've got them here, but where are they all hiding? Where are they all hiding? Oh, that's a nice one. She'll use that one. Oh, here we go. Let's use this one. This is one of my favorite ones. It is a Crowley one, so it's sort of like more, it's got the a couple of the associations are sort of changed around a bit. Just bring that down a little bit. Okay. So, nope, that's a bit too much. I'm figuring it out as I go along. Maybe I should make myself a little bit smaller. But anyway, let's try that out. So, it's just really interesting for me anyway to sort of compare how the letters sit over, the Sephiroth. And now these numbers here, by the way, that I'm using to demonstrate the frequencies. So that was one of the reasons I created this, and it's in the community tab on YouTube. I think I need a better way of sort of sharing this info than just putting it on YouTube posts. I need to have a central point. But, these numbers here are basically notes of the musical scale that are, what would you say, they're tuned to 432 hertz as the A, not sort of standard tuning. And the question is, right, so let's see if I can find this other thing. Where did I hide you? So when these images are clean and clear, right? It's not what I'm looking for. Maybe I should actually organize a class and just run it like this. Okay, here we go. So this here, I've shown you guys this one before, but this is basically going through the Cymatics scale. 432 versus 440. I won't go into the explanation, but basically what you have here is that you have this image here, okay, which is forming. They're running the tone, so that's 432 hertz. So it's not a very clear image, that one, not very crisp. So now what we're going to do is that they're going to do the letter A at 440. And you can see here that it seems a little bit tidier, but there's a lot of broken lines. So this is not the best. I think some of the lower frequencies don't show up that well. But what it's doing is it's doing a comparison. So this one's 432. And we can see that that's the sands organizing to some nice geometry there. Okay, that's pretty clean, eh? Pretty crisp. A couple of straggly bits. That's all right. And then, of course, the next one will be any moment now. Oh, there we go. See, that's nice and clean. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So this is the 440. This is the letter B, the note of B. So it's going between B and 432 tuning and then B and 440. So as you can see, the 440 here is generally not very nice to look at. Like, it's broken. It's not crisp. It's kind of like in between two radio stations. So that's 432. And this is C at 440. So the same two notes, similar image. It's changing. It's wanting to shift to the next thing. That's not too bad, but we can see how the lines are definitely not. Here's the note of D, and it's starting to crispen up. So that's pretty symmetrical, right? Some argue that it's the shape of the plate or the size of the plate. I haven't done the experiment personally, so can't comment on that. But there's lots of these videos on the net. So now we're going to go for, I think this is D at 440 will be the next one. So that's nice. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So this is the note of D at 440. So we can see that it's not really, it's a bit blurry, but the particles are not moving within sort of boundaries. And the circle here, okay, here's the note of E, which doesn't feature in Bardons' book. So we're actually looking at two-dimensional geometries representative of the notes that we attribute to the letters. Okay, and some of the notes create lovely geometries and some of them don't, based on what they're tuned to. And there is a little bit of wiggle room in there too, obviously. It doesn't have to be right on the money. It can be either side, but there's just enough to show you that, there's a difference. That one's kind of coming together. Not very good, though. Here's 432 again. So what we see is generally speaking, we see a consistency with, isn't it interesting how the particles know how to evenly spread themselves out? That's the part that buzzes me out, man. And here's 440, which is like not so good. They're not really doing much. They're kind of halfway between two patterns or shapes. Okay, so anyway, where I was going with this, and I want to bring up some more of this Hans Uni stuff because his stuff, oh man, where is it? Oh, this one here. This is wild, this one. This is oil. Okay, this is oil with different sounds playing through it. And we can see how the oil has got this sort of like a lattice pattern forming. It's organized. The sound is organizing the matter into patterns. What does this look like? That looks like a spine to me. You know, the world was spoken into existence. My gosh, this is fascinating. Or is it like a centipede or some kind of vertebrate, or not? Just the way that the sound organizes things to sort of conform. It creates shape. And we can see this with, what's his name? Masaru Emoto as well. Oh, actually, before I do that, let's just zip ahead. Oh, okay. There's actually quite a few. Masaru Emoto. No. Masaru Emoto. All right, let's have a look at this one. So these people are getting around and saying thanks, or depending on what intention they send to the water, they then freeze it afterwards and then look at it through the microscope, and then the pattern of the water changes. So here they are, they're looking at it through the microscope after they've frozen it. So this one here, they might be like really, like saying, oh, we love you, thank you. So they're expressing an emotion. So this is the astral level more so. They're sending they're intending to send a feeling towards it, and it's patterning it, right? So you remember that when you're doing astral level, oscillations vocally, you're just doing it very quietly. It's moving from the physical into the, it's coming from, there's the thought of the sound, and then there's the ability to produce the sound, and they're kind of meeting halfway, if you will. But these beautiful kinds of like geometries, let's just go back to that. So they did a lot with snowflakes and things, right? And or these ice crystals. And they found that when people were around, these glasses of water or this water, and they would just send it love and thank you and gratitude, and they did it maybe for a week, or they got everyone together and did it on a day, that it would form these beautiful geometries. And then if they sort of send it like a screw you, man, you suck, you smell bad, and you just suck, just be really mean to it, like really mean to it. And then they found that they were getting these kinds of where is it? They were getting these kinds of chaotic types of patterns and geometries, and they also subjected it to different music forms as well. They would play it like beautiful, classical music and soft music and things, and it would form geometries, clean, crisp, clear geometries. And then they sort of played it like angry, heavy music, like heavy metal, sort of like, intense things, and it would just form into this chaos. Now, I know some heavy metal is, near neo. You can get neoclassical type metal and that, and I'm not sure how far they went with it all. But, you can see how I'm sort of like stringing some things together here. The central theme here is that we have that one. We have these visual depictions of matter being organized by sound and by a sort of an intention as well. Okay. And so when we come back to, what we're doing here, when we're working through things, I'm trying to join some dots here. And so what I found is that sometimes when I'm just in the yoke, as my bro likes to say, I'll just start, coming up with things, and sometimes I'll get a flash of insight. But I just wanted to show how, like here are the 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It's backwards, okay? But this is the lowest one here. So this is 10. So you go 10, 9, 8, da, da, da. But, if you look at those letters and then think about, say, how would those letters relate to Malkuth? Well, Malkuth is, like that's the physical plane, essentially, if you will, And we see the letter A for the mother letter of the earth element. We see the letter R, which is another earth element. We see O, which is an earth element. We see the SCH, which is the mother letter for fire. So we see two mother letters. Now, it's possible that C is also an octave of B, but we'll just stick with the 10 before we start wandering off into sort of, mental gymnastics too far. So, yeah, I really love finding these connections and seeing how that's valuable. Think. And here I am. I'm nice and big now. Cheers, everyone. Now, there was something else that I wanted to show you guys. Okay, and it's not this. Let's get rid of that. Move to bin. Move to bin. Okay. So I've got a bunch of images here. I believe the large majority of them are showing Christ. And what we're seeing here is that we have Christ on the rainbow here, and there's obviously that can be talked about in great length. But what I'm kind of aiming at here is that let's see if we can spot some patterns forming here. So here's a classic shot with the four angels around him. We see that very similar kind of theme playing out. Where's me good old deck here? Where's me deck? Got my deck. I should go get my bigger deck. No dirty jokes, please. This is a family show. I should get organized, I could probably make this a lot more succinct. If I was going to edit this, it would be highly edited. I just wanted to hang out with you guys. Thank you. All right, here we go. So you can see these two. Hang on, I've brought it over here so the green screen stuff doesn't pick it up. So here's two cards here, and we've got the four cherubim or the four angels. And this on the world card, we see it as the animals, the bull. Basically Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. And then we have it on the Wheel of Fortune card, which we have the same for, but depicted more as sort of in their, I guess you might call them their winged forms or their angelic sort of forms. Whereas these ones here are more sort of the ground level versions. But we can see that sort of represented here of sorts as well. We've got a central figure surrounded by these four beings. And I just wanted to pull up some artwork. These are actually screenshots I took on my iPad from a presentation a long time ago, where a guy was talking about, if I say blue chicken cult, some of you may remember know what I'm talking about. But essentially, there was a sort of an urban myth. There was a dude going around talking about these blue avian birds that were visiting him and taking him on, and he was part of a secret space program and things. I won't mention his name, but essentially, there's a researcher, adventurer chap by the name of William Henry, and he was on the show with this particular chap, and they were talking about this blue orb phenomena because this chap was having experiences where he was getting collected in this blue orb and going off and visiting these beings, and there's all this art that shows, Jesus and others in these surrounded in these blue orbs. And I also wanted to present some images for you to check out. These are sacred images. And so these can also make wonderful sorts of meditation and contemplation objects as well. This one here, yeah. So this is obviously, there's a crossover here. They're trying to sort of draw parallels, I think, with this kind of this blue dark, if you will. And so here he is sitting on the orb. Here's this blue orb, or this, I'm going to cautiously sort of offer that this may in fact be the kind of the Akasha, depicted in sort of a dark blue. I don't know why they kept using this color. Maybe it's more of the vital level, the etheric, which the orgone, if you will. You know, if you remember Wilhelm Reich, the heir apparent of Sigmund Freud, he developed the orgone device, and basically he would get layers of organic, inorganic material, and he made a box, and they had these layers, and it was called an orgone accumulator. And what he did is that he just kind of made this thing and then just left it there. He built it and then he left it there, and then over a period of time it sort of accumulated all of this energy, if you will. How did he know? Because he opened it up and there was this sort of this blue hue inside. He then put a pipe on it and basically pointed at people who were unwell with various illnesses, including cancers and things. And people were experiencing, recoveries, quite surprisingly. I think too that he even made like a giant box that people could sit in. Unfortunately, he did not end up in a good fate. He was, the powers that be didn't like this chap for various reasons. And so they did a hit job on him, and I think he died in jail from memory. It's a little bit similar in some ways to kind of what happened to Bardon. Basically, the establishment, Bardon obviously got put in by the communists, I believe. He died in a concentration camp. But, yeah, this is one of the things that we live in a good time, guys. Now is the time to create the materials and put ourselves out there, or put the materials out there and then deliver and then offer the teachings, so that there's a body. We're populating content out into the world. So the next time there's let's say a great culling or a book burning, there's lots of it out there for the people that wish to squish it. They have to go searching a lot harder. So, we don't need to make it easier for them. That's why, there's a bunch of us who are, trying to make sure that there's plenty of this stuff around in various mediums: video, text, print, audio, newsletters on the internet, and also in physical forms. So, when we come back, we don't have to spend 10, 20, 30 years trying to find it again. Because stuff can be made to go away. And there are groups who have near infinite resources who want to maintain a power differential through, we've got it, nobody else has got it, and people will just forget about it over time. Here's another one. So we see this repeating theme of this blue, or this, and here's a different one here. So this one would seem maybe a little bit more sort of darker violet, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't built an orgone accumulator. My experience of Akasha is not this color. If I was going to compare that to any of the letters in Bardon's book that I've experienced, I would say that's probably more like a letter O, but not really. Yeah, we can see the blue apparent here. Hello, Nicholas. Thank you so much for joining us here. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. Actually, I'm really excited to be here with my new sort of my slowly building uh, studio set up here. And I've got this really cool, like before it was it was looking like what it looked like, but now I've got the ability to sort of create, a much more interesting kind of environment to hang out in. All right, so let's keep moving, guys. It's great to be here. Thank you for joining me. The young fella over the back here is practicing his drums, and I've listened to him practice his drums over the years, and I have to say he's getting pretty damn good. He wasn't too good when he started. He was okay. I come from a background of being a music teacher, and I played drums and that. And I used to not be very good at all the instruments I played. But this guy here, man, he's getting tight. And that kick drum, that is double kick. No, he hasn't got a double kick pedal. Maybe he does actually. Yeah, no, he does have it because I remember he was using a double kick back in the day. But yeah, he's getting really good. And so he's getting more parts of his body into intelligent rhythm creation that's very precise, and he's developing finesse. And I think that's why if you want to sort of train more aspects of your body, your physical body, it just start there. Instruments, surfing, qigong, tai chi, learning to get to know the body very intimately. And be able to do things with it and make use of as much of it as possible. In Tai Chi, they say one part moves, all part moves. When you're playing drums, it's a similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. My gosh, it's warm where I am right now. It's really warm here today. Now, I just want to call everyone's attention back to this thing up here. So you'll see I've got this little sign here. With your help, we can banish this sigil. Now, I don't have my wizard's hat here, so I'm going to put this on instead. I'm a wizard of the age. I don't actually wear this hat much because it just flies off. We get windy. It gets windy. Somebody gave me this hat. They reckoned it suits me. I don't normally wear hats. I've got a baseball cap, but essentially, you got to kind of fit in with the age, But this here, with your help, we can banish the sigil. So this is me just getting a bit playful here. So this powered by EVMux logo here. This is what pops up with the free version of the streaming software. Now, so I'm the baker. I'm making the bread for you guys. I'm making videos and interviewing people and organizing the live streams and things like that. And I love doing this. Happy to do it. I'm asking those of you that feel drawn towards it, I would love it if you would consider joining up for a YouTube membership or going to my Substack and signing up. I think the YouTube, there's like about three different, there's like a $1, $5 and a much more, but the Substack, that's cool too. That's way better because that happens faster. And Substack's a lot kinder to creators because essentially, the more toys I can and resources I can bring together, we can make this sort of learning experience that I'm bringing forward here, much more engaging and interesting, not just for myself and yourself, but also for guests. If I'm able to offer sort of a high level of production, then that could attract, I might be able to attract, some pretty awesome guests here. And I have to say, that's too hot for a hat. This is a lot of fun, I really love playing with tech toys as creative teaching tools. And the other thing is that the free version here, the one thing that happens is that logo disappears once we get the upgrade. Awesome. I think I need another, on YouTube, I think I need another 5 or 6 memberships at the second tier, something like that. And then I can get the upgrade. But the upgrade allows me to do a lot more stuff. Okay. But anyway, I'm just playing with this at the moment. Let's get fun with it. It kind of sucks. Give me your money. No, it's not that at all. Let's help me build the dojo, guys. Help me build the situation here. Like I said, you guys bring me the ingredients and I'll bake the bread and we can all eat. I don't actually really eat bread, but I'm just using that as an example. So yeah. Anyway, I'd love it if you guys have got any questions. So we're really here talking about, well, we're talking largely about Hermetics, based on the works of Franz Bardon. We've got the 3 books here, and check this out. I got a hard copy. This is from the library, the local library. I own these 2, and I've got the second book in. I've got I think it's the Merker. No, this is the Merker one. I've got the Rugerberg one, which is the more like the cloth hard copy, the purple one with the gold gilding on it. It is. My friend bought it for me. It's like brand new. It is beautiful. I don't want to use it because it's in such good condition. It's so beautiful. But this library copy here, which is a much bigger one, bigger hardback, pretty lucky to have that. But yeah, have you guys got any questions about Bardon? I'll do my best. It's a long journey working through Bardon. And, there's a lot of stuff to carry on. But I have to say, it's such a cool adventure. The doors that open up, the exploration doors that open up, they're just really fun. They're challenging too. My gosh, you confront yourself, but you're essentially clearing away a lot of stagnant comfort zones so that, new things can appear. And I've actually got a lot of really fun. Where are we? I'll just bring it up here. Oh, I've got a whiteboard that I can use as well, like a digital whiteboard, but it's inside the streaming software, and it's okay. I've got to figure out how to use it a bit better, to be honest. But I want to show you guys this. Okay. So some of you may have noticed already that I have recently, let's turn that off. I have recently created this. I have booked this in, and I am talking to a number of people for episode 8 of the Bard Inn. And for those of you who are new, this is essentially it's Hermetics, but it's a Bardon-based system of Hermetic initiation. And, but we're all, I guess you might call, we all have interests in other areas too, but the Bardon material tends to form the framework that, that we operate from. There's a lot of ways to approach Bardon, I would say. There's cherry picking exercises, there's a holographic run through, there's the way the book mentions to run through, but essentially one thing that all the guests who come on the Bardon share is that we generally are familiar with the Bardon material and have respect for the value that it has in in our lives and also in its potential too. And so this is coming up on the 15th in the US and the UK, and on the 16th here in New Zealand and Australia. And I've got 4 guests confirmed. I've got a couple of regulars and also people that have come on before. I've got one who hasn't been on for a while, and maybe 3. Yeah, no, 4. Actually, I might have 5. I was actually trying to get about 8 people on. So what I'm trying to do, guys, is part of this. With your help, I can banish the sigil thing. Is I'm trying to talk you into investing into the channel so I can get the software upgrade, so we can make it really pretty for the guests and for yourselves. And it also opens up a bunch of new toys too. So I'll go and do all the work. I'm putting a lot of time into this channel. I love doing it. It's so much fun. But I could do with a hand. It would be really helpful. And if you look at the join options on YouTube, there's some pretty easy options there, guys. So, and the Substack's definitely the better way to go. I think I've got a PayPal option too, but we're going to be, I'm going to be bringing this group of guests on again, and I've got a bunch of questions, and obviously this is completely, free. Everyone is welcome to join us in the chat, and guys get to bring your questions through, and you can have your question answered by experienced Bardon practices and teachers who have got tenure. I mean, we've had people like, who have we had? I mean, we've had because pretty much all I do is live streams now. I've had Ray Del Sol, I've had Martin Foulkes, I've had Philip Harris Smith, I've had David Paul Coleman, I've had my gosh, who else? Who else have I had on? I actually forget. There's been so many of them, and this. Oh man, thank you, Nicholas. I really appreciate that. There's so much stuff on the channel. I've got about 140 plus videos now. Some of them are clips of the longer forms. But what happens is that once I do this long form live panel chat, then what I do is that I go through it and I clip it up into short forms of by question. And that's when you'll see, there'll be other thumbnails like this that point out questions. And, this is a really fun way of populating content onto the internet for people who are, wanting questions answered in relation to Bardon and the wider conversation. And, I put this up on, I put it up on, it's up on Odyssey as well. And it's on Substack because, YouTube could just turn me off for whatever reason. They're a real funny bunch. I love YouTube, but they do some weird things from time to time and stuff can just disappear. So it's like I said earlier, it's really important, guys. If you feel like becoming some kind of content creator in some form to support this community, get cracking. Now's a good time. This kind of information is not being sort of deleted, if you will, as far as we know. So, get it out there. Come up with new creative ways to explore the content, the Bardon material, or whatever it is that you're doing. Don't be shy, I really like to encourage, I would encourage my guitar students to consider becoming teachers as well. There's certain things you have to be aware of, obviously, if you're going to teach, but essentially, there's a lot of noise out there, and it would do us all well to help to essentially offset that noise with quality. So this is anyway. So this is coming up on the 16th here in New Zealand. It'll be my Sunday morning, I think, and it's going to be great. So, like I said, you guys get to show up. This is definitely more for Bardon practices, I would say, or people just curious. I won't give any names away just yet because, it's still a couple of weeks away and things can change, but I will start, what you can do is you can go and check out the description over the next couple of weeks, because you may find that there's a teacher on there that you would really like to get a question answered by. And so what you do is that while we're talking, because I'll bring some questions for the guests, and then, you can essentially put your question into the chat and say, hey, this question's for this person, or it's for the panel, or it's, I would like to get this. And there's a good chance that we'll get to it, generally speaking, I say this to the guests as well, we want to give the audience preference, essentially, because, I've got my own questions that I can bring forward, but you guys are also going to have things that, and what I can do is, like I said, I'll clip that video up by the question that you ask. We'll get everyone's responses, and then I'll make a separate video and upload that for the benefit of the community and practices out there. And sure, it helps my channel and all that, but, it's also just really good to create this material and create a library, a frequently asked questions library or a question library. I'm very blessed to have sort of built the relationships with the people that I have who are keen to come on and share. And absolutely, we're gonna advertise their offerings as well. I know there's it can be a bit controversial out there sometimes to, for teachers to advertise their stuff, but essentially, we've got to keep this alive, because this stuff there have been things that have disappeared from history that we're not aware of for whatever reason. Some things that are not that haven't disappeared are things like the pyramids. The pyramids are made of stone, right, or potentially a poured material. Who knows? Okay, but what we're trying to do is that we're trying to build some almost like long-term institutions, monuments, schools, and things like that can be accessed at a later date, maybe in our next incarnation, these types of things, because we don't want to have to keep reinventing the wheel. Okay. Yeah, so the live will be on in US Eastern Time, 7 p.m. So if you go to my channel, Phil Rice NZ, which is this one here, if you go down, you'll be able to actually click on the thumbnail that's in my upcoming live streams, and you'll be able to, click the notification bell, and you'll be reminded when the live stream's coming up. Ah, nice one. That's cool. Welcome. Okay. So yeah, this has been this continues to be. I'm not disappearing just yet. But this is really fun, guys. Let's hang out back in the ruins again. Okay, so now something else I wanted to talk about was, in the early stages of training, initiation into Hermetics. So I'll just, can I actually pop this up? I might be a bit tricky. I'll just bring it up over here. Oh, there's the portal. That's when we start to disappear. In the early stages of training this curriculum, okay, because it is a curriculum. It's a spiritual, astral, physical curriculum. And there's certainly a lot of complementary trainings we can do, things like Tai Chi, Qigong, weightlifting, body conditioning. That's one of the key takeaways, I think, in the current age we're in, guys, is that, like we have access to all the information to, what we're trying to do is cut down on all the noise. Okay. This is really key, because there's actually, let's see if I can bring up an image of the Franz Bardons books. Let's see if I can find the one that I'm looking for. No, it's not in here. It's not in here. Pardon me, I had a whole bunch of images here. I tell you what, this particular live stream, I'm taking a lot of notes, guys. Taking a lot of notes, because I really want to just make this really fun and not so kind of like hokey pokey like I'm doing now. I'm doing everything on the fly. Yeah, can't seem to find my images. Let's see here. Let's just pull it up. I'm going to get a bunch of images. Get me a bunch of images. Perfect. Thank you very much. Actually, where's a better one? Where's a really nice image? That one's a good one. Let's do that one. Oh, no, not that one. Let's try that one. That one, and that one. All right, here we go. Thank you for bearing with me, everyone. No, I'm not going to edit this for people who are watching it later. You'll have to just sit with me through all the stuff here. I want to talk about one of the first aspects of the training. Okay. Let's make this nice. Okay, can I make it? No. I want to fill up the screen with it a bit there. No, too big. Let's see if we can bring that in. There we go. Rock and roll, man. Here we are. Thank you for joining me here in the ruins. So I want to talk about mental training, spirit training. What do you mean mental, spiritual training? I thought they're all different. You know, physical, astral, emotional, mental, the spiritual. Well, they talk. You know, you hear it a lot with people who offer sort of metaphysical services. Maybe like I don't know, you know, all sorts. I've seen a lot in the Reiki circles. You know, like Reiki offers, you know, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health benefits. Well, we kind of see the mental body as being the spirit of sorts. You know, we're not talking about the functions of the mental body, the intellect and things. We're just talking about the mental body itself, the thing that the spirit kind of occupies. But it's also kind of like the thing that it's got the levers on. It's like the cockpit almost. But we pull back even anyway. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted here. So the spirit training in Franz Bardons' initiation into Hermetics. This is basically where you start. You start off by receding right into the mental body, into the spirit, and just observing and becoming familiar with the functions and the aspects of that point of consciousness that occupies that body, if you will. So the body is kind of like the thing that you shroud yourself in, or that you occupy, so you can work on the mental plane. You have an astral body which allows you to operate on the astral plane. You have a vital physical body which allows you to operate. You know, we have a sort of like a you know, like if you're in space, you need a spacesuit, right? So the body is essentially like a spacesuit, like a meat spacesuit. And now, with the mental training, though, this is really fun. You know, one of my favorite things to do, I've got to say, I take great benefit from concentration exercises. But definitely, I've got a busy mind, and it would do me well to probably exercise it more with things like writing and, you know, crafting things. Here I am on a live stream, and it's not all over the place, but I'm just kind of winging it. You know, I'm improvising in a lot of cases, but I've got a bunch of stuff that I've set up, and I'm just kind of working my way through it. But I'm also learning a lot, you know, about how to work the software while I'm doing it, because, you know, it's like running a show. Like I used to run, you know, like a band. And so I'd be working the stage. I'd be singing, playing, organizing the event in the venue, or I was doing something like organizing a concert for the students, or, you know, this type of thing. So you get good at doing a bunch of things at once. And so this is where I'm at. But with the mental body training, one of my favorite exercises is vacancy of mind, because then you are literally looking at a blank canvas of sorts. And that is just one way of looking at it. You're just sort of like cleanly occupying it. You've got clean separation. You're getting used to not thinking anything. And what that does is it doesn't activate the astral and the physical bodies. You're just sort of pulling right back, and you're just like watching empty space. And there is an aspect of intent at play, because you're choosing not to have anything present. So in the first exercise, mindfulness, we're just watching thoughts rise and fall away. So that's definitely just sitting there, just like seeing what your mind conjures up. Oh yeah, okay. Then the next, number 2, is concentration, single point of focus, where a thought comes in, and then you learn to get your mental fingers around a thought in whatever shape it takes or form it takes, and then you learn how to essentially apply your will to maintain its position and hold it there and maintain it. Okay, and that gives you so in the first one, you're learning just to watch, just to sit there as a sort of an innocent bystander or just someone observing. And then the second one, you're learning how to, I'm going to hold that there. So there's a level of intent involved. And then the third one is the vacancy of mind, where you're that ability to hold something and the ability to witness just things, they kind of come together, and then, you're able to just basically intend that nothing comes into that space. You've got a clear desktop and you can just sit there. And it's one thing to be able to do the skill, okay, to perform having an empty mind. It's a whole nother thing to experience the benefits, the unfolding benefits of a vacancy of mind. Okay, because it's a tool as well. It's a skill. It contributes to the other skills that come after it, right? Because when you're sitting in the deep, you do need it, obviously, like to help you because you're constantly clearing space. You're cleaning up things. You're clearing the noise out of your astral mental bodies and your physical bodies. You're making better food choices, and you're getting exercise, and you're looking after yourself, and you're managing your emotional state, and you're cleaning things up on each level. You're being conscious of what you expose yourself to and what you put into your body and all these types of things into the bodies. But this vacancy of mind, man, it's awesome. Like if you sit there with an idea of, like, say you want some information, you sit there, right? You just focus on the question. You formulate your question, be very specific, and you sit there and you focus on the question. Like, this is what I want to experience. And then what you do, you hold it, maybe for like a couple of minutes. Like, you really get good at holding it. A couple of minutes, all right, that's a long time. But then what you can do is that you then move into blank mind or vacancy of mind once you get good at that skill. And then what you might find is that data will start to emerge. You'll get an answer of sorts. Now, that's just one thing you can do. But just sitting there with vacancy of mind, you'll probably find that once you don't have activity in the mental space, you'll just experience a type of relief. It'll be like your mental body's just able to sit down and go, oh my gosh, thank gosh. Oh my gosh, thank God. Oh, I can relax now. There's aspects of you that are doing stuff all the time that are using up energy. And I'm quite short here, aren't I? Let's bring that up a bit. A little bit. And so when you learn to sort of detach and deactivate those activities, you're going to be pulling, you're going to have all this new energy and these resources. And, if you're a person with a busy mind, like myself, for many years, my mind was a river of thoughts all day long. Some of them were good, some of them not so good. But when I discovered meditation and just learning how to watch the fill TV or the TV of my mind, just sit there and go, wow, this, eat the popcorn and just like, wow, what's my mind coming up with today? Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty funny. oh, gosh, not that. Oh, yeah, whatever it is. And then it started to create space. And then it became much easier for me because I found out about blank and void mind, if you will, vacancy of mind, through another series of teachings. And once I was able to sit with that and bring it on, if you will, it gave me a whole new set of experiences. So as you work through this material, you'll find that new experiences will arise, and whatever they are, okay, they will pass. There'll be new things that pop up. There's things that are sort of like near the surface that are trying to get released, because a lot of this is just releasing. You're just opening up sensory capacities, if you will, within each one of the bodies, because each one of the bodies sort of experiences that they have functions, and they have things that they do, and they also have ways that there's data that they can pick up on. You've got a sensation or a feeling body, you've got a mental body, a thought body, and you've got a physical body, right? And you think about how those three bodies interact on each plane. They're able to detect and sense things. But when you're able to release the functions and just relax, you'll find that there's things that are accessible that will suddenly come into your awareness that were not present, or they were very fleeting in the past. And so those fleeting curiosities, or that little voice, or the new streams of data that were very subtle and hard to sort of maintain, these things will become more commonplace. And, we don't pitch our tent there so much. Or build a house there. They're just sort of like, I guess you might call them valuable types of markers along the way. Oh, that's interesting. You write that down, and you note down how you got there and what happened, almost. And this is great stuff for your journal, guys. And then you go back and you read through it, and the more time you spend doing this, just simply observing things, you'll find that like at the beginning of this talk, I was mentioning about getting into the magical mindset, where you've got switches to get you back into that. The world pulls you to the world, and sometimes you need to be totally in the world to get things done. But there's also the ability to operate as a magical being, or create the magical creature, if you will, and have those other sense perceptions active upon your choosing, but also recognizing that there are layers of reality present. It's easy to forget them, especially if, like I said, 35 years before I started meditating and started having experiences. And then I had a whole bunch of experiences, and then they started to simmer down a bit. I was like, is this it? It's like, no, it's not it. You just need a methodology to keep moving up. Once you get to the next step and you have all the experiences there and they become normalized, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gets released, and you go, wow, all the stuff's happening. Okay, well, then that settles down. It's like, oh, okay. And then it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, there's another development process. And so this is what's really great about this book, Initiation to Hermetics by Franz, which is right there. It gives you a traversable methodology and curriculum that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff in there you don't need to do as well. Like when you read through it, there's lots of things you don't really need to do. But he kind of points out the things that are essential, if you will, as well, for his curriculum. He's made a book. This one here. He's made a book that is he's tried to write one book that's a one-size-fits-all curriculum for whoever comes across it is able to complete it. And some of the current teachers of our modern day have, I guess what you might call, translated it into a language. Because, as time goes by, you try reading a book from the 1600s or the 1700s, you've got to learn how to read that. It's like reading like an academic paper or legalese speak. It's another language almost, from a different time and a different space, reading these things and their translations as well. So we need teachers to be able to translate them for the benefit of us all. I'm grateful to people like Ron Clark. Rest in peace, Brother Ron. Thank you for all your work, Ron. Man, he put a lot of valuable stuff. I'm grateful for Martin Foulkes. I'm grateful for Mark Rasmus, who introduced me to Bardon, and Bob Smith from 60 Skills, and Jake. And man, there's so many people to mention, right? But and Ray Del Sol, huge, but if you can think of all the, and gee whiz, you can go on. There's still literally probably like, you can count them on your hands, the notable figures that have, are in sort of the awareness of Bardon practices. Like there's a lot to explore in the Bardon ecosphere, I guess, if you call it that. But we need to keep the material alive in our minds through modern translations. And also, there's complementary practices too. I have to say that the Qigong and the Tai Chi aspect that I've discovered in the body training, that's just wild. That is just so much fun. Learning how to build the ball, and then understanding how that is valuable to the Bardon training framework. Now I've got some comments here, so let's have a look here. What do we got? Frazzlebacon33. Hi, Phil and chat. Do you have any advice how to protect against evil practitioners who wish to harm you psychically? Well, standard regular recommendation is to read what's it called? Dion Fortune's Psychic Self-Defense. So let's put that up there. Everyone generally mentions this one. Now, some people will be like, well, actually, that book's not that great, and da-da-da-da-da. But, it's worth reading because, you know what? There's accidental magicians. There's unconscious magicians out there. There are people who don't know, who think bad about you, and suddenly you have a bad experience, and they don't know it. They're like able to be potent, and they're not even practices. It's quite possible that they've developed their ability to affect and influence others through work or practices and things like this that are not related to magic. Because you got to remember, like, it's not all sigils and Kabbalistic letters and these types of things. It's your ability to influence. There's lots of ways of doing this. It's hypnotism, and there's setting intention, putting things out there, and come up with all these other ways. But how do you protect yourself? This is a very good question. One way to do this that I heard that I really liked is that you essentially create a sphere of light around you, if you will, and or you can, and then things just reflect off that. So anything coming at you just gets reflected. Another way is to visualize that you're like a mirror ball. You've got mirrors facing outwards, like a disco ball, right? And actually, that'd be fun. Let's bring that up. Let's bring up a disco ball so I can give you a visual reference. This is the cool thing about this format, guys. Isn't this fun? All right, here we go. Okay, let's bring this up. Okay, you want to visualize one of these bad boys surrounding you. And so essentially, you're surrounding yourself with these outward-facing mirrors, so anything that comes in just gets reflected back. And that is, I think, well worth practicing, because it also helps you develop visualization skills. So, these things are kind of have multiple uses, So that's definitely one. The other one, I haven't had any personal experience with this. I mean, I don't know if there's people sending me bad vibes. I just kind of get, there's stuff happening all the time. When you start becoming sensitive, pardon me, and I was not sensitive for a long time, but once I started becoming sensitive, it was like, oh man, this is a double-edged sword. It's great to be able to pick up new data, but then there's how that data affects you. And so, that's why the going through the Bardon material, if you're just starting off fresh with all this, it's pretty good because, excuse me, it's going to, help you get familiar with the pliability of the bodies. And so, you learn to become capable with them, and how you can tweak and fine-tune aspects of them to create different effects, and also change the way you feel and the way that you are. And so this is valuable. Yeah, I like that. That's good, man. Yeah. If you're worried about people sending you nasty vibes, Frazzle Bacon, I would suggest, you've got to go learn, yourself. I mean, I can give you tips. The chat can give you tips too, and maybe they'll work fine and great, but some things may be more difficult than others. I think too that going through the Bardon work and, getting to Akasha and these types of things, this is going to open new perceptual doors. So you'll be able to sort of get a better sense of when something appears to be. I also think that in the modern sort of technological Western environment, and actually it's not even limited to the Western world, there's a lot of environmental, there's a lot of adversarial, toxic environmental influences that, like Wi-Fi, EMF, electromagnetic radiation and frequencies and things. We can't see them, but they're there. In fact, we're living in a sea of them, right? Well, let's see, Frazzle Bacon. Maybe this person will have an experience and they'll see the light, brother. Possibly. All we can do is hope for the best. I would say even just, you could even pray for these people, mate. Just put on light and say, hey, look, I really hope this person finds their way, because they're probably suffering and struggling. I've dealt with a lot of strong personalities in my time, because I've been a band leader and I've worked with schools and I've worked in places where there's lots of egos. I mean, music's pretty big for it. There's a lot of divas out there. And some of these people have incredible influence and sway with people, if you will. And they're probably, if they're angry and they're up on stage and they've got all this influence and all this attention, they can probably, if they get up there in a bad mood, they could probably, I mean, everyone's dancing and having a good time with the music, but, they've got some issues in their life that they're feeding, and the music acts as a kind of a carrier, or their voice does. Yeah. I just say put the good vibes out there, man. Yeah, and I can understand that, like you'd think that, people who are on some kind of evolutionary pathway, they're developing themselves, would have an enlightened sense of how to be and interact with others in the world. But that's not always the case, there we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? But yeah, yeah, just, I've got to say this. I've got some people in my life that I struggle with from time to time. And I don't think they're necessarily bad people. I try to find the best in people. One exercise I found that was really good is to look at the best aspects of those people, find the pearls in their crown, as Mark Rasmus would say, and just focus on that. If I feel somebody's done me wrong, for whatever reason, and man, I tell you what, I am no saint. I've been a bit of a shitty person in my life, I've got to say. Just being honest. One thing I found to be very, very cathartic and therapeutic is for me to visualize just giving that person a genuine hug. Say, man, I hope because they're another part of us. Are we all one? How do you see things? Everything serves a purpose. Nothing here is by mistake. Well, that's, especially if you follow Bardons material. So yeah, trying to find ways to be kind to yourself and others. It's a great precept from the Reiki system. Actually, really love Reiki. I got to say, I'm really loving Reiki, and what Bardon can do for Reiki and what Reiki can do for Bardon. I'm really enjoying exploring that. That's if you guys go to my my Substack, I've just written an article on my adventures with energy healing. It's part 1. It's quite a long article. I think it's about a 10-minute read, roughly. It's a couple of thousand words. It is paywalled, but you can read the first half and see if you like it or not. Brother got to put food on the table, and I want to get back into writing. I want to use writing as a way to pay me bills. But, being kind and remembering those bits where you're not being kind, and then getting the courage up to admit to yourself, at least. Sometimes, you know when you're wrong, right? And you go, oh shit. And I was an a-hole about it, perhaps. And you're like, oh man. And you're like, how am I going to do this? I just can't. No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm going to be a stubborn dude, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to move on this. Here's something you can try out. And that is just sort of talk to yourself like you're a little kid and go, hey, is it okay if I just sort of think about, how it would feel to admit that I was wrong? Sorry, my camera's gone out of focus. I've just got to bring it back in. Just ask yourself, you just consider the possibility that, not that you were wrong, but that it might, what would it feel like if I just went, because let it go. I do regular releasing on things. I release on the magical path. I release on life and friends and family and things that I'm afraid, what did Yoda say? Those things you fear to let go of. If you can let go of things, man, I tell you what, you just feel so good. And then they come back to you and they're so much better because that attachment you have to the fear of letting things go, the fear of things going and leaving you, that creates a kind of a noisy bridge. And yeah, gratitude is great. Contentment is great. Gratitude is very important, very valuable to practice gratitude. Genuine gratitude, like really sitting there, put your hand here and just breathe in and out through that space. And just feel the warmth and the nice buzz that comes up from doing that. And just being grateful and being really sincere and all that. But yeah, releasing things, far out, man. That's been one of the best things I've discovered. Man, that's all. Frazzle Bacon, brother. Presuming you're a brother. It's okay, my man. We're here. This is a family show. We're here to help each other out. This Bardon stuff is such a niche. The spiritual path, like it's quite niche in some ways. What I would like to call a genuine development pathway, not some sort of hodgepodge of pulling the syncretic and eclectic things together. Like we're really trying to nut things out here. I'm on the Bardon path because it's probably the best thing I've found. Coupled with the Mark Rasmus stuff, personally, I'll put that there, and everyone else that feeds into it. But don't worry about it. It's okay. Like I think you're being honest and genuine. And so the family's here, man, we recognize that we're all trying to, get ahead in life and all that, because here we are. So don't worry about it. It's all good. Bring your stuff forward. Let's see if we can help you out. Yeah, man. You know what's funny, Will? Man, I tell you what, I had to drop my car down for a warrant a couple of years back, and I was going for a walk around the neighborhood. There's an industrial area out where I am, and so I had about an hour to kill, I think. And I went for a walk, and there's a few churches in this industrial area. It's quite strange, actually. There's like a Unity church and I think it's like a big Samoan church there. But there was also this, what was it? It was a Buddhist temple. There was a Buddhist temple, and it was in an industrial area, and it wasn't what you'd expect. It looked like a factory basically, but it was a Buddhist temple. But they had the beautiful stuff inside. And I went in there and I was just like, I went into the car park because I was just killing time. So I was just having a look around and looking in the window, and they were pretty good about it. And the next day, man, I had this beautiful dream, and yeah. I mean, I'm not a Christian, but I find great value in the teachings of Christ and how he walked in that. I have to say, man, there's something about Buddhism, eh? And I'm not just talking about your spinner rack or all the people, there's, I don't know, when you have something explained to you well in a way that makes sense to you, I don't know, I'm just able to connect with things a lot better now, and I've got to say, I actually heard someone say once that a Buddhist can be a Christian, but a Christian can't be a Buddhist. And still thinking about that. But yeah, there's something about Buddhism, eh? And it's not about being a limp sort of pacifist. And there's so much more to it. I really love the way that Mark Erasmus explains it, actually. Um, oh, well, that's it, man. Always take the high road, and that's hard. I've had some things happen in the last few months where I'm just like going, man, I could have played that better. Walk the talk. Give yourself, live up to what you say the best you can. And like a family member of mine, a dear family member of mine says, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. If you got nothing nice to think, then just don't think about stuff. That's why these practices are great, because you can essentially distance yourself from these lesser aspects of yourself that haven't been schooled correctly. So negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative proclivities. There's you, the observer, and then there's the thing, the urge that wants to sort of get traction and pull you into a development cycle where you act something out. It's like, no, I'm just watching this. Like, especially like when you're doing element training and the body's learning, the astral body's learning to sort of like manage this new power source, if you will. Those lesser aspects, if you haven't sorted them out, they can get amplified. And I actually just shared a video on my channel from a clip from an interview with Martin Folks where we talk about this. It's really important to refine and purify aspects of yourself, because once you start dealing with power, then the negative aspects will start getting amplified. Even the little things that just pop up from time to time, the frequency and the amplitude will increase. But yeah, you just got to do the best with what you can at any given moment. You've got what you got. You are where you are, and this is all you can do. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. And like if you have a reaction to something that makes you go, oh man, that's not the best. That's not the best me. I could do better than that. Write it down and go, when this happened, this is how I responded. And start looking at your response mechanisms objectively. What happened when that thing happened? And I found that to be greatly useful. Like, yeah. And I think too that, if you're say a professional, so I'm a Reiki teacher and practicer. It's actually a professional obligation for me to keep my house in order. My internal environment, to keep it, like we have precepts in Reiki. It acts as a safety net. Do not anger, do not worry. Be grateful. Be true to yourself and true to your way. And be kind to yourself and others. And I can go through, I've broken those down in other streams. I'll probably do a video on this quite soon, actually, because I can see that it's important for me to get more of this, to express more of the value of Reiki. A lot of Reiki has just been forgotten, a lot of the value of this system. And like the Bardon system, I think there's a lot of things that could be helped a lot by some modern complementary and supplementary things, not just for expediency, but for also understanding. Beautiful. Try being grateful for the crap in your life. Like write down a list of shitty things, and then you don't have to try and find the value in them straight away. Okay, but you can just go, "Oh man, that was horrible. Even thinking about it sucks." Give it a hug and go, "Thank you," because you're gonna get, they're just heavy weights that you got to learn how to lift. And lifting those heavy weights and carrying that stuff, you'll get stronger, and so then you're basically opening yourself up for the next thing. But you'll probably find too that if you have some good precepts, there's lines you just don't cross. I did that with food for a long time, and then I went back on it a bit. Damn, a lot of food numbs your sensitivities so that you can eat. Seriously, there's a lot of food out there that makes it so you can not not experience the negative effects of other foods and even of that food. But once you quit those things and start eating good stuff, it's very hard to go backwards, man. And when you do, yeah, you'll notice it. So, but yeah, like I said, having some precepts, go learn the Reiki precepts, check them out, and you just look at them, like just get there's a few translations, and some of them are going to be more appealing than others, but you just sit with each one. Like for the first one's great. Do not anger. What does that mean? You contemplate, where in my life am I being angry right now? Look, search deep, like Bardons says, leave no stone unturned, and go, how am I acting in the course of a day where I'm coming from a place of anger, or I'm angry about something. And so, get to know yourself and why you do the things that you do and how you act unconsciously and how you've got these old patterns. They're not necessarily yours. You picked them up from somewhere probably. Suddenly you saw someone else do something when you were a kid or respond to something like your dad or your uncle or your mom or whatever, and you saw how they handle a situation, and that's when you went, right, so I trust that person. They give me food and protect me. So what's going to happen is that when you encounter something that you perceive to be a similar type of situation, you're probably going to go, oh, that's my point of reference to how to respond. So you're just going to repeat that pattern. And I tell you this right now, adults are figuring it out as they go along just as much as everyone else, including parents. Do you think parents are experts at being parents? I don't have any kids. I've got sisters who have got lots of kids. I've got one sister who's got 6. I've got another sister who's got 4 kids, and they're all different ages. And, they're still figuring stuff out too, because as the kids get older, the kids' needs change. The kids become a little bit more independent, but they still have needs. Okay, this is really good that you've brought this up. Justice will be served, eventually at some point. If you want to speed up that process, and you can do that, you've got to remember that sort of justice has got 2 edges and it can cut both ways. And so we live in time here on the physical plane. We're bound by time and space. And if you think about life as being like an accordion, okay, and all the peaks on the accordion are moments in life over a timeline. So you think about a timeline, and then there's these things that happen, these events that happen in our life that are here to teach us things. It's possible that person is due for a comeuppance, divine comeuppance, for whatever reason, or that they are to learn something that's going to help them. They're going to be given an opportunity to see how what they've done affects others, and see how that's caused pain and suffering to others. And that's up to them whether they change, and it will become intense. These events are stretched out over a long period generally for most people. I would like to think some people are going to have just regularly just get tested because that's maybe what they've chosen, or they haven't dealt with things, and so things tend to get bottled up over time. But I would say Frazzle Bacon, as an exercise, if you're open to it, let it go. Just try letting it go. Release it. Just go. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not that important. Even if it really, really is, just let it go. Just hug that person. Just let it go, man. You'll be so much freer. If you can cut ties with this person as much as you can, just say, hey, look, this is my life. This is not for you to have an effect on. I'm sure you've probably done this kind of thing already. You cut them off. Sorry. Sometimes you just got to do that, and you got to be okay with doing that too. I've ghosted people over time because they were just, man, I'm not even responding to that. I'm not maintaining a connection with them. I'm sorry, you're out. That's it. Some people might be like, well, that's not how an enlightened being, well, isn't it? Oh, okay. I'm sure that something's going to pop up. It's funny, actually, over the last probably 2 months, I've been reconnecting with a whole stack of people that I haven't seen for close to a decade. It's really bizarre. And there was a kind of a tension for whatever reason, and those tensions have been resolved. It's like all these opportunities to release are coming back into my life. And I have to say, there's a couple more that I need to deal with from earlier parts in my life. But when you occupy the Akashic body, or, the mental body, where you're just, you're above the astral body, where you're not in it, you're not being sort of weighed down or affected by it, it's way easier because you can just be that cool, calm, collected, like distant, detached, and just go, hey man, bro, I did you wrong. I was a dick. Or, you're waiting for people to come right. Good luck with that. You might be waiting for a long time. Expecting ourselves of others, that's folly. I've tried that. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, that's it, Will. You got it, man. Take the high road. You'll just feel better for it. You'll sleep better at night. Being truthful, being honest. Can be quite challenging to maintain your sense of self. Even being able to say the word no, the lost word. Get good at saying no. Okay, and politely, no, thank you. That's it. No explanation needed. Well, I can't because of this, and no, and that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. You can try it. Some people struggle with that, and you might try to give them a softer landing. I got to say, I've been blunt in the past, and that hasn't been helpful. So you gotta think about the best way to play it. You're going to constantly get provided with opportunities to test your response. Yeah, I'm not going to harp on about this one too long, but there's a reason why it pays good dividends to be the best person you can be, because especially if you're on this path, guys. And I think Bob from 60 Skills nailed it when he said, we're held, people on the path are held to a higher set of standards. And so when you do a naughty or do a whoopsie, it's going to have another level of, I should have known better. That hurt. And I'll just leave that one there. All right, guys, I'm on for about another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to get kicked off by the software. So I'm just going to do another plug. So once again, this fella here, this Powered by EVMux logo, is here because this is the free version of the software. I'm here baking the bread, I'm putting hours, guys, into this channel, and I love doing this. I'm really growing on me. I really love playing with the technology. I'm loving playing with this new kind of format as well. I'm really grateful for all the cool people that I'm meeting in the community that's joining. I mean, lots of people show up because of the interviews and the clips and that, but I'm developing my own audience and my own group of friends and supporters through just doing these live streams with myself, and that's really cool, I'd really like to do more, to bring more. I'd like this channel to pay for itself, and one of those things is that there's it's about $50 New Zealand a month to pay for this streaming software upgrade. And at the moment, I'm pretty good at making it work and making it appealing. I've figured out some clever ways and workarounds for making it look good. I've just purchased a green screen here, which came via the funds that you generous people out there have supported and supplied. I've got a bunch of more guests coming for interviews, and I've got another live panel happening too. And that is, I would really like to create the nicest environment I can for my guests, and for them to know that the audience that supports this channel is, you guys are just a great bunch of people. I'm so grateful. And seriously, just enjoy the content. But for those of you that might feel compelled and resonate with what I'm saying here, I'm very grateful for you. For those of you that have become members on YouTube, YouTube are a little bit more. There's a little bit more red tape involved when it comes to getting paid by these fellas. They're quite a funny bunch, and they take a big chunk. Substack, they take a much smaller chunk, and it's much easier. And then there's always PayPal, of course, and these types of things. I think it's philriceholistic@gmail. I probably should put that in the description, actually, because that's pretty much a direct route. But that's all going back into the channel, guys. I'm going to keep upgrading it. I'll come here and bake the bread and put the hours in, communicate with the peeps. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background, guys, to make the stuff on this channel happen. Educating myself, learning new things, communications with guests, building graphics, setting things up, keeping on top of what goes on, to make sure that I can keep this up. But yeah, this thing's going to the software is going to flick me off in a moment. So I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Keep being divine. Keep your vibes high. Love yourself and friends. That's perfect, Will. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And Nostalgia has put this one up here. Do you have any advice for someone who has OCD? Yeah, I would say those first 3 exercises in Bardons' book, that will help a lot. You've just got to learn to sit with something and not let it control you. You're just a point of consciousness observing, and then you have the ability to act. Okay? And you've got to be able to choose to act or not. Do I need to, because I used to be a bit OCD, I've got to say, and maybe I am still a little bit, because I like things to be in order. I like order over chaos, although it's good to have a bit of chaos, because it's very satisfying to see how the lawn looks once it's been let to grow a bit. Frazzle Bacon, thank you so much for sharing your situation, and I hope you took some value from it. But yeah, I would say go and start researching psychic self-defense, brother. Sorry, Nostalgia. Just coming back to you. Yep. There's internal tendencies that are dominating your life with OCD. And, you've got to have things a certain way. You're obsessing about things that are probably not important. And so learning to let your mind just sit there. Like if there's something that drives you nuts, man, I tell you what, for me, this is what I would do. I would put it right in front of myself, and I would just sit there and then feel the tension. And then I would start to relax the physical tension. And then I would just sit there in its presence and then just let the feeling pass. I do that with my food. I let the animal desire to eat and the emotional cravings. I just sit with the food and I let it just pass. But them some heavy weights to lift, and this is it. These are things that once we overcome them, then you get a YouTube channel and you get on there and you talk about how you overcame stuff, and you're going to help a bunch of people out because you had the thing and now you don't have the thing, and this is what you did to get over it. Alrighty, guys, I'm so grateful for you all. Please remember that coming up, where is it? Coming up in about, let's see if I can get it in before I get kicked off. Got 1 minute. Let's see. Got 1 minute, guys. If I get kicked off, I love you all. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Okay, this is what we're doing, guys. So this is happening. This is happening in about 2 weeks' time. So come and join us. And yeah, I just want to say a big thanks. And yeah, please consider supporting the channel, whether it's liking, subscribing, sharing, or joining, or going to Substack, signing up for a paid subscription, and I'll pump it back into the channel and we'll get some new toys to play with. Help me get rid of this sigil. Get rid of this thing. Have a beautiful week. I'll talk to you again soon. Stay well, eh? Thank you.